Yo, what's going on YouTube? This is Zach with IT Career Questions. Today we're going to do something a little bit different. I want to start this video off by first saying, cancer. Because this video really has a large impact on that statement. And I'm going to talk to you guys today about how I became the person that I am today and the person who influenced that, who has no idea the influence that they actually had on my life. So let's get into that right now. So this video is in memory of my father, who passed away in 2013, April 17th, 2013, of bone marrow cancer. He had a form of this cancer that you could not do a bone marrow transplant, and he got really sick, and on April 17th, he passed away, and that day really changed my life, as it should and would for most people. But I owe everything that I'm doing right now to my father. You see, my father was always behind a video camera. I can remember from a young age, he was always filming holidays, filming sports, and at one point he was even involved with our local, like very, very local news channel, which was really small, but he was a part of that. He loved recording video. Like, that was his passion. He really loved doing that. And towards his later years, he was actually editing a lot of videos. I can remember way back in like 1988, maybe 89 even, on Thanksgiving Day, he was taking all of his old reels of film, and they were like 8mm or whatever, and transferring those over to VHS tapes. And that memory always sticks in my head because it was one of the coolest things that I got to see at such a young age. But, you know, going on to later years, he was always trying to get me to buy a Mac, right? Like, there's this one thing. He's like, I love editing videos on Mac. I love my Mac. You need to buy a Mac. And I was just like, dude, no. Like, I hate Macs. They're dumb. They're stupid. For years, him and I went through this. And it wasn't until after he passed away that I finally bought my own Mac. And I'm like, yep, you were right, Pops. You were right. And you guys have no idea how many times in the last 6 years that he's been gone that I said, yep, you were right, Dad. And it's one of those things when you're a parent, you'll understand, or if you grew up with a dad that maybe you didn't get along with all the time, like I did. Him and I did not get along very often towards my like middle years of like teenagers and all that stuff. But you always want to be better than your father, right? You always want to do better, do the things differently that, you know, that he did to be a better person. And so many times in my life, I say to myself, wow, I'm just like my dad, just like him. And even this, you know, a large influence of why I started this channel was my dad. I mean, always being involved in video and seeing that and his passion for it and editing videos, that played a large part in why I'm doing this YouTube channel today. And I owe him that. I owe him so much. He was such a huge influence on my life in so many ways, and you never got to see that. And that's very unfortunate. And I miss my dad every single day. There's so many times where I wish I could call him up and talk to him about something video related, about something within the house, fixing the house, because my dad was honestly one of the most creative people I've ever met. And he did so much. He was involved in so many different creative outlets and doing things. And it was such an inspiration for me. And I think that really did play a huge influence on me and who I am today. To give you guys a little bit of background about my dad, in the 60s and 70s, he raced stock cars. So that was his passion. Like, that was his huge, huge passion. He loved racing stock cars. And in 1978, 79, 78, my brother was born. And his life started to change at that point. My mom was like, no, you can't be racing cars anymore. You have children. And then 1984, I was born. And by that time, he was all out of the stock car business. But he always tried to be the best dad that he could. And I don't think sometimes he knew how to be the best dad he could, just like I don't know how to be the best dad that I can. But he did his best. He always provided for us and got us the things that we needed, had a roof over our heads, and I owe him so much, and I appreciate my father, everything that he did for me, and even still to this day, I'm using one of his tripods. I use his tripod every time I record a video, and it makes me think of him, and I'm glad that I have that. And here you guys can see, here, there's my daughter. In 2011, my first daughter was born. Changed my dad's life. You guys have no idea. My dad was always, I would say, a pretty grumpy person for the most part. Never showed emotion. I can remember one time in my entire life where I saw my dad cry, right? And it's not typical, right? But that was the only time that I've ever really seen my dad show emotion. And that was really surprising for me. But seeing him with my daughter, and what that did to him, it was truly an eye-opener to whom my father actually was. And that was the father that I always wanted, right? And so, you know, from 2011 till 2013, I could have conversations with my dad, and it was so enjoyable. He was very just down to earth at this point. You know, he was really sick. I didn't really know how sick he truly was until after he had passed away, and my mom told me. But you would never know. My dad was like the strongest person I've ever met. And to see this transition was something that, you know, I had always wanted that from my father, but at the same time, it was so discouraging because he was sick. You know, he was dying essentially. And I'm glad that I had those few years with my father, with him being that person. And even still, you know, like I said, to this day, the influence that he's had on my life and the things that he did for me and my brother and my mom, he's just a great person. He's a great human being. And I thank him for this, you know, and I want you guys to thank him as well, because if it wasn't for him, I don't know that I would be doing this to the extent that I am. I wouldn't have the understanding of all of this that I do. And he's one of the greatest influencers of my life. And thank you, Dad, for that. And this Friday, actually, on March 29th, would have been my dad and my mom's 50th wedding anniversary, which is just absolutely insane to think about. 50 years together. I don't know how my mom put up with them for that long. Just kidding. But you know, we miss him every single day. And April 17th of this year will be 6 years that he's been gone. But it's been 6 years that I have really looked up to him in ways that I never thought that I would. And looked at the things that he did with his life and figured out how I can do better and be better because of him. And I want you guys to know, to understand a little bit of where I came from, how I got to be here where I am today. But at the same time, what I really want to tell you guys is fuck cancer. And I wish there could be more done to prevent or cure that terrible, horrible disease that happens. And I hope that one day we find ways to overcome this and get past this so that we can share more time with our loved ones, because that is very, very important. And I hope that you guys who have parents who are still here, that you get along with and that you tell them how much you love them, appreciate them, or maybe how they influenced you in some way. And if you don't have parents, maybe it's the people that you look up to in some way or who influence you in some way. Please let them know. Please share with them how you feel, because those things are important. You don't understand till it happens to you what it's like to not be able to share those things with somebody who had such a great impact on you. So please be sure to tell your important people in your life that you love them, you cherish them, and you appreciate them. Because when you can't do that, it's one of the most heartbreaking things that you will experience. So, to my mom, who is probably bawling her eyes out at this point, thank you. And to my dad, who is somewhere, thank you. Because if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be the person that I am today. I hope you guys got something from this video. It was really just a let me share this with you because this is something that is very important to me. It's been weighing heavily on me, and my dad deserves credit for everything that he's done. Whether he's here or not, I want you guys to know how important of a person he was to me and is to me, and the influence that he had to get me to where I am today, because he was one of the most hard-working individuals that I have ever seen in my life. And thank you for that. So again, hope you guys got something from this video. If you guys have money available, donate it to some type of cancer research that makes sense to you. Look it up, find it online. Make sure it's a credible company, because again, this is one of the most heartbreaking diseases that anybody can experience. So that's all I got for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed this video somewhat. I know not many of you will watch it, but I do appreciate those of you who have. That's all I got for you today. As always, take it easy.